Yeah,
and we're back.
UFO, I see. No,
I don't know.
No, that's just his.
There was just too many letters there.
Too many letters.
AUFOIC.
Oh yes, I see.
Alpha.
Welcome back to another episode of Learning to Curse. I am not Slava.
I'm not Adam.
And I don't know what the fuck am I, but let's just keep rolling with it. I guess
we're going to do we have a planned UFO episode where we're going to talk about the history of documented UFOs.
And all them shits.
But today we're going to talk about UFOs.
Today we're not going to do that.
We're not going to do that.
No.
This may or may not come out after that episode, but who knows?
Who knows?
We're going to talk about if UFOs are a thing. If they are a thing. But if UFOs are real. UFOs are real. Wait.
Yeah.
They're unidentified flying objects, which is a good point.
If those UFOs are
alien or not.
Right.
What is the point of them? Let's talk. Let's theorize.
Here's a funny thing. Did you know that our government right now has an actual backup plan if UFO was to attack the world? How we would respond to it?
They have a preparedness, but we don't.
And that's the
society doesn't.
Well, actually, that was the problem. Was society was prepared for it, and when they had to pass it, they literally had to fucking pass it because it's a national security issue. Yeah. The whole entire hype is. The country knows, the country sees, and if we feel threatened, we need to create some kind of measures in case it's not friendly.
Yeah.
And whoever the fuck has to travel...
It's a legitimate fear.
Yeah, and whoever the fuck has to travel across the fucking universe to make it to another planet, I highly doubt they're there to shake your fucking hand. So,
they're there to stick a probe up your anus.
Well, that is the default,
Anal probes.
Anal probes, yes.
Of course, I've noticed that things become better only if we build or work together, but not so far as history been showing us. We haven't been that fortunate, at least for craziness that come off those stories, but... Who said that they're crazy, though? Maybe it's just...
They may be more benevolent, being a species that is that advanced. Maybe. But, I mean...
Their idea of what we would consider moral or just is just completely beyond what we would understand because they're so far advanced that our ideas of these things are trivial.
It could be like humans and how they look upon insects when they if they were to experiment on, like, who cares about their
that's the thing. We this world had to come with terms in this last century because we started believing in the aliens and the UFOs out there, but we also practiced something unbelievable during World War II, and during those times, as sad as it sounds, the fucking rockin' science out there, it was straight up starting with being shoved up somebody's ass. So like
an anal probe.
It literally is, and it's to the saddest part is that we understand that certain things have to be taken to that outside comfort zone. Yeah. So I guess if anything, if it's a thing, shit.
Well, what happens when a more advanced group of humans ends up on the shore of another country or island and encounters the locals who are not as advanced? It usually doesn't go.
It doesn't go well.
No.
Yeah,
and that's something that Stephen Hawking warned us about.
That country becomes a new country in most cases.
But that's the problem.
It's like where we are right now.
It's not being the element of the experiment. It's to avoid being as much part of that experiment as the more you can get out of it. Primitive cultures, primitive things.
Yes.
Shit, we still find out to today that we can learn something from fucking baboons.
Yeah,
it's
course.
Surprisingly. It was in the 70s, some guy fucking found a bunch of group of baboons, were dominated by a bunch of fucking alpha males. Alpha males died up because people fucking trashed. And so what happened is, in these just 20 fucking years, this guy finds out that those alpha males that died off, the new group of males decided to keep it balanced.
Yeah.
And so they checked every fucking young baboon that tried to act alpha afterwards.
Yeah. They learn from the experience.
But that's the sad part. You see, you had to go through this massacre.
We haven't learned from that fucking experience. Yeah. There's still a shit ton of humans who have that alpha male mentality.
Exactly.
And that rules the majority of things. and it's just a bunch of bullshit where it's unnecessary, and these gender lines and gender roles are fucking ridiculous.
And what's sad about with the as a side note with the whole alpha male thing, I mean, what alpha male means to the rest of the animal kingdom is quite different. Compared to how humans take it.
Yeah,
but it's
humans it's like Hulk smash, if you know what I mean.
So the primitive
Hulk having
of it.
sex with things.
Yeah.
Smashing it.
Also, if you look at the differences between chimpanzees and what is it, bonobos?
Yes. Oh.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bonobos.
Yeah. Bonobos are an offshoot of chimpanzee. They look very similar. They act not very similar.
No.
Chimpanzees are a lot more aggressive and warlike, and bonobos are hippies, basically. They're monkey hippies or ape hippies. And they practice in free sexual expression. They know that sex is pleasurable, and they use it that way. They have they fight and shit, and they are animals. And
they're from sodomy and bonobo.
Yeah, exactly.
Sodom and Gomorrah. No.
Yeah.
Sodomy and bonobo. Yeah. We'll stick with that.
Yeah.
And Gomorrah, maybe.
Yeah. Gomorrah and
sodomizing Gomorrah.
What's Gomorrah's sister's name?
Nebula.
Nebula. Yeah.
It's nebulous.
Nebula and Gomorrah.
It's nebulous.
It's very nebulous.
Yeah.
But you got to put bonobo in there in sodomy.
Right. I would never sodomize a bonobo.
Tell them to sod off.
But the thing about here's one thing that I want to bring up, and I know we're gonna go into like the history of
that
UFOs.
Story brought
and shit.
me up.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go into the history of UFOs and shit at one point for an episode. But if you look back on it, like before, like the 1940s, there really wasn't a prevalent UFO
they looked at it
phenomena out there.
Because it could be argued.
Well, if you retrospectively, you can look back on it and say, okay, this is a UFO from the 1800s or the 1400s or whatever,
paintings.
in this old tapestry or whatever.
Yes.
But I think that is hindsight finding the clues that you want to find.
We may be making the connection.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, maybe.
Or there could be these phenomenon, and they thought of it a different way. Yeah. Like, I think that the prevalence of UFO believers, I know it's
angels.
Yeah, exactly. But like the UFOs are prevalent, more prevalent so now than they were, and it's gotten more so, and it's still on the fringe.
It's a pop culture thing.
Yeah,
it's sci-fi.
Yeah, it's on the fringe for those who think that it's real.
We can't argue the fact that in the rise of science fiction, there were more accounts of UFO encounters and abductions.
Well, I mean, also, when was the War of the Worlds broadcast?
Exactly.
Right at that time, right after World War II.
Many years after it was written.
Exactly.
Even. So, I mean, on both accounts, it could have got people thinking about it.
Exactly. And there was, I mean, even though, like, while that was going on, there was mass panic and people actually
committing suicide,
believing they saw shit that they didn't see.
Mass hysteria.
But I think I equate it to the
a precursor to MK Ultra. No,
no, I equate it to the way that humans develop religion.
Yeah.
They have to have something to believe in.
Yes.
Their mind has to go towards something that
believe in yourself.
Yeah, exactly. That's my
first.
But
that's actually the highest part of it.
Yes. Yeah, that's why it doesn't surprise me. Like, there's a lot of things about it that I'm like, I don't know how you made that leap. But I'm the same way with religion. I don't know how you made that fucking leap.
Yeah.
But I can get why people without evidence or minimal evidence can wholeheartly believe something based off of anecdotal
because they've been doing it since the beginning of mankind.
Because they have been doing it forever.
It was religion, but now you have, I mean, is ufology, is it really that removed from religion?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at.
It's a new thing
really
trying to answer these, as of now, unanswerable questions.
I think a lot of paranormal shit it ties into a bunch of new agey religious type shit.
Yeah.
You know, like crystal healing and stuff like that, and all that kind of bullshit.
Some of it predates,
and I know it does,
but some of it is more of a modern thing, and it's just we need something at any given period of mankind.
The reason is to why is like we're expanding our horizons. We always have, and
we're narrowing our vertices.
But we are trying out things that are not possible, and one of those things that sometimes we cannot tell or understand is shit is beyond. And the only religion to today that survives is the one that fucking holds your afterlife, because unless you fucking die and come back from that place, you're not gonna fucking see it. So technically, back in the day, you get gods of thunder and sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna make a bad joke. a bad
No,
physics joke.
please.
It was physics. If you do expand the horizon, you have to take into account.
I caught that earlier. Your vertices.
Yeah, that the matter has to be displaced, or it can't be, expanded. So when you broaden your horizon, you are also narrowing your vertices. So you still have the same narrow point of view. It's just at a different perspective.
Yeah, technically you're turning around, but you're not looking over your shoulder to see back. You're actually looking into your ass.
You're squinting. When you narrow your horizon, you're
quit looking at where you came from and where you're going.
Yeah, when you broaden your horizon, you're squinting. But yeah, that was my stupid joke.
But aliens.
Yeah.
We started with UFOs, but no, aliens is very much a factor because people make that association right away. That assumption, it's got to be aliens. I mean, who has technology like that here? I'll tell you who does. Governments.
Yeah.
I mean, governments may potentially be behind UFOs, or at least some of them were back engineered.
Before the stealth bomber
it was a UFO
widely
sighting.
known.
Yeah,
it was the government developed it in secret.
Skunk works.
The TR-3B too.
Yeah, the TR-3B.
They have a name for it, but they keep denying. We never made it. They probably made it, and that's accounting for some of the triangular UFO.
Also, I mean, the government can spend billions of dollars making a prototype and realize that it's inefficient. It doesn't work the way that they wanted it to. They've tested it, and people have seen it being tested, and then they've just put it aside because, or are trying to repurpose it. We're still working on it.
We didn't make it. It's black budget money.
It's like who's gonna fucking like push for something ethically challenging?
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. Like one of my times I was in trouble and I had to go to court, and I had a lawyer, and this lawyer is down to earth. He knows his shit. But he was telling me, he's like, hey, guess what I just heard about on an FAR the other day? It was some fucking thing that was equivalent to the Terminator fucking prototype. This thing survived on fucking decomposing bodies.
Yes.
And I was like, get the fuck out. And he's like, I'm not joking. He's like, I was in the car, but because I had to be in court at this time, he's like, I couldn't pull my shit out. I wanted to call up NPR and just straight up ask him, please tell me more. But he said they were prototypes. Who the fuck wants to test a dead body being decomposed for
here's
fuel?
the thing.
So think about it this way.
That story did kind of run wild.
Okay, here's the thing though, is that they already use turkey byproducts to make biofuel.
Yes. They were okay.
It's coming to human bodies.
On the one hand, they could say that there are people saying that they just exaggerated that story. That yes, it could essentially run on a dead body, a human body, but it was that wasn't going to be the fuel that they were going to use for this.
Of course.
But at the same time, it is the U.S. government. So so I mean,
also if you
it would be efficient on the battlefield,
those
eating up the dead body.
And that's what it was. It was a tank.
Yeah,
they called it a tank.
Those people who jump to those conclusions, like even I know this is like really off like the scale, but
it's actually
the contraception.
Yes,
people say if you introduce contraception into the sex education, then that's going to make children or teenagers want to have sex even more. No, it's not. It's just going to allow them to have more protected sex. You fucking idiot.
If it's going to happen, might as well.
Yeah, they jump to these conclusions. So say this technology is developed and it can work on byproducts.
They're not saying that they're
jumping to the conclusion of saying, oh, they're going to use human bodies for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
it's
at
like
the
a
same
sensational Fox News bullshit.
But at the same time, if it was on the battlefield, why would they pass up all the free fuel?
Shit, yeah.
Exactly.
But they're not coming out right and saying that that's what they're going to use it for.
So coming back to this particular part, we're realizing how we're interacting just in general with how we approach things. So I think one of the worst things that we can have is a completely dulled state of mind where we expect a particular answer or result from something that's equivalent to a fucking hypothesis. And a hypothesis is a guess. It's an educated guess.
Yeah, that's why I hate when people, and I use it too, I use the term theory a lot, but I dislike I try to use the term hypothesis more often than I use the term theory, because scientifically speaking, it's not a theory.
Yeah.
It's a hypothesis.
Yeah.
These people who are like conspiracy theorists, they're not. They're conspiracy hypotheses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
hypothesis.
Technically, all it is, it's
because theories tend to be more sound. Are they 100%?
Well, a theory, a theory is the highest regard that an idea can have.
But it can be
once it's gone
changeable,
through scientific scrutiny.
The scientific
But yes,
method.
if things do develop, it's left open to be able to change
and
based off of new
they're very
data.
specific in that.
But a
because
hypothesis is basically I guess your your thesis would be the beginning, then a hypothesis, and then it goes through the scrutiny.
But even theories hold that particular rank because, like, think about Pythagorean theory.
Yeah,
it's the basic fucking 90-degree angle triangular fucking idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and so like the thing is, the theory can take such a close form to law that an untrained eye can fuck this one up beyond belief.
Well, I mean, just before the theory of relativity, there was the hypothesis of relativity.
Yes.
I mean, before the hypothesis of relativity, there was the thesis statement of relativity, and Einstein gathered the data and did the math.
It was thought experiments.
And it was thought experiments.
It was in Einstein's brain, his wonderful brain.
It became a theory based off of scrutiny.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
And that's what I wanted to really, really applaud for Einstein for this particular part, which he did something that's an artist will appreciate. His thought process was to actually imagine. So like
John Lennon,
dude. Well,
imagine all the theories.
He definitely was on the hippie side, but I don't know.
Well, when he did thought experiments, he really put in like he tried to imagine going at the speed of light.
Exactly.
That's the type of thought experiments he would do in his mind.
That's exactly how we need to approach scenarios like this. Instead, we always approach it as like it's one-way thing. But no, one of the things that I'd always like to do whenever I'm in a fucking group environment where we have like a team or some shit like that, and if we're in the shittiest moment, like where we have no way of like progressing, I would let any fucking motherfucker that has the craziest dumb off the fucking wall shit to try, just because we have not tried it, just because there's something possible.
Yeah. And look, there's a lot of things that you can look at on paper and say, no, that's fucking stupid and it's not going to work. But if you have the time and it's not going to harm anything, I'd let an idiot try his idiot idea.
Why not?
Yeah.
Something may arise from it.
Even if what comes of that is you prove to the idiot that he's an idiot and shouldn't have ideas anymore.
It can be looked upon as idiocracy to fall into insanity, just banging away doing the same thing and not getting any results. Yeah. So might as well try something rather than the same old thing.
Yeah.
But even Nobel created a dynamite hoping he can change forms of earth forms and shit like that. But no, it was used to fucking break and break shit. A lot
of our innovations come about from trying to innovate in a completely different way.
Dude, well, like the one place where you would say in that, what's that university in Pennsylvania or whatever, where they discovered the fucking the bomb. They built the bomb, and it was Oppenheimer, and it was funny. I remember Stephen Colbert saying, he's like, that's the one place where you get away saying, nice fucking going, Einstein.
Which reminds me, we have to do a Philadelphia experiment episode eventually.
Yeah, but it was one of those things. It's
that was the experiment that caused Tom Hanks to get AIDS, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Philadelphia experiment.
Yes.
Yep. Great movie. Denzel and Tom.
Yeah.
Then one of those things. It's exactly like approaching with anyway. Past Tom Hanks with him having AIDS, but anyway,
Wilson. Different movie.
Well, yeah, but Wilson was born
the experimenter.
Wilson was born of it, just like Batman of the Dark, But anyway, enough of bullshit.
Wilson was a tulpa
with a giant penis.
Said he was the ball.
Are we approaching this UFO phenomenon correctly? Like, is our mental thought is it because it's a mass fear? Is it because we're unknown and we're walking into the unknown?
I think a lot of it is to do with humanity's fear of the unknown.
Yes.
That's why there are
and their fascination with the unknown.
Yeah, well, that too, but I think a lot of it does stem from fear because the majority of it is a fear-based situation. That's the same again with religion. You're not looking at these religious things. I think for the most part, when you take a step back and you look at religions and you scrutinize them, it has nothing to do with how to live your life here on this planet. It's what you're storing up for your afterlife.
Which is a waste.
It is a waste.
And here's a
live now.
But it's based off of fear of death.
You know what the fear comes with UFOs? It's in the name. It's unidentified.
They don't understand it. They don't know what it is. People shouldn't be afraid to say they don't know.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with not knowing. There's a lot of shit that I don't know. There's things that I want to know, but I'm not going to fill the gap with the speculation. I will have ideas. I will have hypotheses. I will come up with strange, quote-unquote, theories about what might be, knowing none of them will ever pan out. Even if it's just even if it's just in conversation to spur someone on who has the ability and capability to go out and explore and discover these things.
And that's
and if I don't know the answers to these questions that I'm asking for another 50 years, fine, but eventually I might know.
Yeah.
You're asking.
I might not know, and I'm fine with that.
What you're asking is you're stating the actual infrastructure of our humanity. Basically, the unknown part of it is how we learn how to be a man, or how to be a whatever. Any person, and just in general, we find ourselves at one point or another in life where we and we tested based on this, on our ranking level within society of how we process, where we stand amongst the others, is to test how we react in the unknown. And whenever we react in the unknown,
I'm fascinated by it.
Some people, and that's one of those things. It's a great thing. It means you guys built experience. You're actually mature fellas instead of.
We have both had experiences that we can't explain.
Yeah, and that
I'm not scared off by them. I mean, at the time, some of them did frighten me for a bit, but I was young and I was inexperienced. And then when I've gained these experiences and this knowledge of, and I've learned more about my own self.
Yeah.
I was able to take a step back, and even now, it's weird. Like the other day, at the Scottsdale office, we saw a bobcat, right?
Yeah,
a little baby bobcat. And then when I was leaving that night, this huge, it looked like the size of a wolf, but it had to have been a coyote. But it was huge and black and hard to see, but it just ran across the road as I was leaving. And then it just disappeared. It was gone. So it was a weird phenomenon. Now, I get that it might have just went into the bushes and was hiding from me because there's a bunch of rabbits over there. So I'm not surprised that I was out there hunting. But just the uncanniness of the situation, it wasn't like a normal dog running across the road. But you know what? I didn't just freak out and keep going. I stopped my car.
Your curiosity.
And I rolled down the window to see if I could get a better look at this thing because I wanted to see it.
Because only then can you fall on the
safe. I wasn't going to get out of my car and go chase it down. Yeah. But it was interesting.
Well, only then can you fall on the side of a believer in it being some kind of phenomenon that's not natural,
right?
So far as we know, or falling in the skeptic side and saying that's definitely, it's got to be a wolf, it's got to be a coyote, it can't be something spiritual. But you're willing to sit on the fence there until you know. Yeah. And that's the problem in society.
It literally is a problem.
The vast majority is either going to fall one way or the other. And, and it's okay to be skeptic.
Yeah,
and it's okay,
but not to the point of totally dismissing everything. And we don't make any advancements. These things that are considered unknown will never be known if we keep writing them off as it's got to be something that is known already. And then the same thing with the believers, like full on going with faith into things.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
And because you want to believe so bad that there's either an afterlife or there's these beings here or aliens or ghosts or interdimensional beings, whatever it is, you want it so bad that you'll start looking for it and finding it in things.
Exactly. You have a confirmation bias already going into it.
Yeah.
I tried, and I'm sure I'm not 100%
There's a confirmation
successful.
bias with the skeptics.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I guess.
In a different way.
In a different way, but I like to think that I'm open-minded enough and open to the ideas enough that if something does happen, I'm not going to just dismiss it outright.
Yeah.
But I like to think that and I'm sure I don't. I'm sure I fail. But I like to approach everything in life with as very little faith as possible.
Yes.
Because when there are facts involved, and faith is a feeling.
Yes.
When there are facts involved, your feelings go out the window. I don't give a fuck how you feel about something. There are facts to back up whatever it is that you have a feeling about. So feel however you want, but it is not going to play any part in any decision making from here on out because there are fucking facts.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Then let me ask you this question: are we approaching the shit as human beings that have not surpassed that one test in our lives? Because everything that the only way we can solidify that as a stone is if we overcame something, but without a challenge that puts us without tools. So when we're stuck without tools, when we're stuck in that unknown scenario, how the fuck do we respond? Do we make it or do we break it? Do we fucking flight or do we fight?
Yeah.
And one of those things,
we rip it and break
the clarity of that moment is what defies us in these scenarios. And I think that's when we approach the aliens, they're unknown. Are we fucking totally jacking this one off, or are we literally seriously, are we jacking this whole phenomena off, or are we being with dignity, are we taking this to the next level where we try to better our technology and start learning how to interact instead
from
when
my
the world
approach
goes
on it
off to shit.
Yeah, from my approach on it, and I know this isn't the majority's approach, even though it's a minority idea. A majority of the minority doesn't think this way, I don't think. But I think that it's all thought experiment.
Yeah,
I think it's all fascinating, but without actually having any concrete information. All we can do is, I mean, you can think. I mean, people have been doing it since pot has been discovered. Sitting there, getting stoned, and speculating on the unknown, which is fucking fun.
Yeah,
but it can lead to developing ideas that are more concrete.
And it also can lend itself to preparedness for things. Like if we're having these conversations with people, like, look, there's a lot of people that dismiss UFOs and aliens outright. It's garbage. That'll never happen. Blah blah blah. But if it did happen, what would happen to those people? They would lose their shit, and they would not be ready for it.
See, right? They would.
We have the conversation about the possibility.
Yeah,
is this a possibility?
And they would fucking break. And that's one of those things. It's we kind of we're stuck in a part where we can take this dignity, we can keep our dignity to ourselves, but we also. How are we going to do it? Are we going to do it with how to put it, with appropriate approach and with being careful about it, or are we just going to fucking jump shit our thing, everything? Meaning by like, just like Adam, what you explained, is we're creating these realms of possibilities, and the funny fucking part is that it's infinite. The amount of fucking
possibilities,
chaos in philosophical nature itself has an outcome that you will never predict, no matter what it is. Even if it's like
there's a finite amount of possibilities, but we can't conceive of that number.
No, and here's a funny thing. I started reading this fucking book for a little bit, and I quit because I realized a fucking physicist had a fucking book come out. It's on YouTube actually, but it was about what happens in multiple universes. If we had a singular universe versus infinite universe, I mean multiple universes versus one singular but infinite. Yeah. Even the infinite, what you just pointed
with
there,
a linear timeline through it.
There's a finite because if you have 0 through 9, and it gets repeated infinitely, it's at one point or another combination is being recreated, so there's probably another you out there. So but the thing is, the finite possibility of it is that we're creating this unlimited amount of scenarios, but don't forget we also react a million fucking ways of like responding to it. So the chances are, like, if this shit goes down,
there are different mitigating factors.
Even though they are, this person might actually stand up, become like hero.
If for example, 1,000 years from now, another atom is created based off of that, infinite regress or infinite whatever, where it just happens to be the exact same
in a linear
DNA
timeline forward from.
But the mitigating circumstances surrounding that new configuration of you would be different from you.
Then you're bringing in the nature versus nurture again, and epigenetics too, because the parents are not going to be the same. Right. Even if it is a lab experiment clone of me in the future, it's not going to have any of the same experiences. Like people fear, well, what if they clone baby Hitler? What if? Who cares? Who cares? It's going to have the same genetic information, but it's going to have different nurture. It's going to have a different environment around it. Growing up, not in the 30s, 40s, 20s, all that, but growing up in our distant future. I mean,
for fuck's sakes, he might be the next fucking Jesus just because it's just because like relatively
that focus
different.
That he had being put to something else more useful.
It's it can flip the whole thing around.
He could have made Volkswagen so much bigger than back then. Like it's huge now, but I mean, imagine.
This is good. They stopped.
We're gonna make the big Volkswagen. Everybody's gonna fit in it, and not just in the ashtray. Right? Wait, hold on. Sorry, it's that 25% of German in me.
Oh my
damn it,
God.
Mein Gott, my heiße scenes of Führer. Wait, I gotta stop. I need alcohol.
You probably should, dude. Good thing I'm open minded.
I'm pretty sure at this point I might have reached my breaking point.
I'm at my Volkswagen points. My Oktoberfest points. UFOs.
And we're back.
And UFOs. So are we really, really manning up to like this new culture that we're creating? Or is this just a mass hysteria? Or maybe our way that we still have yet to accomplish something or overcome? Because in true nature, to explore, to go beyond is what we do. But it's also to test ourselves as we go along. And the only way we can test ourselves is with learning how to build our own tools.
You don't. You don't test yourself or make that leap by playing it safe.
No.
You do take bounds. Otherwise, It's just
get outside the box.
Exactly.
Color outside the lines.
You know, there's a funny experience I've had, and it's an early, actually, childhood experience that to today I find it to be great, but I fucking hate it because it had my fear for a little
I also
while.
find donuts to be great if you like one.
Oh, yes, please. I'll take one. But
Thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeremy.
We still had these from last week.
Yeah, they're stale, but
I still don't give a shit. But anyway, donut's a fucking donut, dude. I got a 40 here, so do you think I fucking give a shit about
a 42, the number 42.
42.
Okay, so not the baseball player, but anyway, it's my steel player. But one of my earliest
It's
experiences
in the
was
Guide to the Galaxy.
how I learned how to fucking swim. I didn't learn how to swim. I just fucking mimicked. And then one day
You learned how not to drown.
Yeah, exactly. I found myself drowning way the fuck out in the Black Sea, dude. And I was like,
that is funny.
and
You said it was a funny story.
It was, because I made it back. Because one thing that came into my mind out of all the things, it wasn't like, it was of course fear of death. Because like for the first time you're drowning with nobody around. And then one thing that came into my mind was, however the fuck you made it out here, you're making it back. So I just swung my arms the fuck back until I reached the fucking ankle deep water and I was on my stomach fucking paddling. Yeah, that's how like fucking scared I was to make it back. But at this point, this was a lesson that I didn't really realize until just recent years, to be honest. It's when I'm drowning is when I truly realize that I'm capable of sustaining and being afloat. It becomes my comfort to know that in the most uncomfortable
paddle
time,
out of it.
I can paddle back out of it.
Yeah.
And it's,
Sometimes we need to be thrown.
Well, I mean, and again, to use that analogy,
approaching that-
when you're buried with all, or drowning in all of whatever life can throw at you, you can learn from it that you're basically learning how to swim back to shore.
Yes.
Through all of that encompassing water.
Sometimes you need to be dumped in the proverbial deep end of the pool.
and truly, to be honest, this is a funny lesson to me too, because it's a metaphorical.
Okay.
It's in many ways my life is.
It's my favorite.
I go out.
I was going to say,
I go out.
it's a
I fuck something
foracle
up,
that's referencing itself.
Yes.
and then like
So meta.
when I improve on it, when I come back, I fucking kill it. Like I make it like my first painting. Actually, I do art on it's my family skill, but the funny part is I got to like very good level, and then I just decided to like fuck. I'm tired of doing black and white. So I started doing paints, and I did oils. I fucked this painting up so bad, like even a chicken will shit on it just to laugh at it. I don't know, like that was a funny example, but it was weird.
What a cock!
Yeah.
Truly. And then like what I did the following day, I dried that shit off and then followed up and scored something that could be right now sold for $100. I think I showed you that little painting, that little one.
Yeah.
That was a second attempt because I
you
realized
told me
I had to fail.
Yeah.
Or be right there where I just give up and say like, fuck this.
Well, that's the thing is you can fail and say, you know what, I've failed and I can't do this. Or you can use that failure to learn how to do it better the next time, and then fail that time and learn how to do it better again.
And sometimes one person's perceived failure is another person's masterpiece. So with that failure may have beget another type of art altogether.
Right.
I mean,
so what I think is a hindrance to progress sometimes is when failure is approached not as
negatively.
You fail to succeed now.
Yeah.
You're going to succeed if you continue at this. There is the distinct possibility that you will succeed. What I think hinders progress is when people look at their first failure as
a resolution
confirmation that the goal is unattainable.
Yeah.
When it's not unattainable, it's just that you've failed to attain it yet.
In that way.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things however, though, we do learn it to be a lesson, and we do approach future like scenario where we're now fucking, again, stuck in that no tools, no backup, no insurance. We're going into something we don't fucking know, and there might be no way to come back.
Right. One thing I will say is that the episodes with Slava are not that they're bad, because they're awesome and great. Not as funny.
This has been funny. What are you talking about? See, this is all about perspective.
Right.
Yeah.
Slava thinks it's funny.
I think it's fun. I mean, as far as like the quips that we normally throw in. I don't have time to throw in a quip. I'm listening and trying to participate in this deep conversation.
Slava
even though
thinks
it
it's
may
funny,
be.
and I think Slava thinks it's funny.
Are you laughing at me? Yes. I think I'm paranoid.
No.
It's a garbage song.
If you guys don't know, like, I'm totally like creep staring right now, Chuck, just to be like, what the fuck, man?
Thanks, buddy.
And eating a donut and doing the Italian thing.
He was slowly shoving the donut in between his lips as he was staring at me and blinking, and then he winked one eye. And then he licked the
that
donut.
was actually the.
No,
I mean,
none of that
scared
happened.
it for a second. But the funny part about that is that I do find it funny, and like it's you take this the reality of it. It's because it's the ethical choice that we have to make in that particular.
Right. No, I mean, I'm not. Again, I'm not saying it's not funny. I'm just comparatively, I'm not like making stupid jokes.
I find that to be. Oh, well, I'm sorry. Yeah,
the night is young.
No, it's fun. It's great.
True.
The night is young.
There's
and
what?
This is the first donut.
How many episodes so far? Close to the end of this season. We're like above 40.
This is 40-something.
40-something, and you guys, the audience, you've gotten a majority of episodes where I just make stupid jokes. Here's a couple where I don't.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
And whatever, there is always an ending, kind of like we were saying, it's towards the end of the season. Mm-hmm. And whenever there is an ending, it's a new beginning. So like, if you're
just like that Semisonic song.
But it's
every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end, and that sounds like but. So every new beginning comes from shit.
Yes.
Remember, that end is only seizure of that point of cycle. It's the cycle, the true time. Fuck. The true time of the universe is technically chaos and order.
Yeah.
Chaos follows order. Mm-hmm. Order then dissipates and turns into chaos again.
Well,
and then the same way, it's just like a fucking circular.
It's cyclical.
Cyclical clock.
A Clockwork Orange.
So anyway,
there you go.
Well,
but the idea is just that
Malcolm McDowell.
We're
just
better.
Thinking of that Semisonic song just now and tying it back into what I was saying before about failing, is that it's saying the same thing. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. The end of that first beginning was the failure, and it just end. If you let it just end there and not let it be a new beginning with new information, then you're fucked.
Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
So, however you deal with yourself.
Did you know that song, by the way, side note, that song is actually about childbirth?
Yeah, I know.
That's weird.
It's weird.
Nice.
Like, cool.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna
So
have to
UFOs.
think about that song for a while, but
UFOs.
No, but that's where we come to this now. The tools that when we're scared to go out there, and we're with UFOs, we're afraid what's the unknown. What can they do to us? Are they going to do this? They're going to do that? Are we? Should be worried. Prep our shit together. And that's
unfortunately the reaction with most human beings? They're like, blow it out of the sky, because shoot at it, burn them before they get us. I mean,
a lot of it too. I think most people would see some unexplainable thing and jump to the conclusion that it can't be us.
Yeah.
Because they're looking. They're like, we can't do that. We don't have the capability of do that. Yeah. These are people who have a limited mentality. And I'm not saying they're stupid or special, but they're limiting their own mentality when they think that we can't do something.
Yeah, exactly.
They're limiting human progress by thinking we can't do something.
Just 10 years ago, I think we would have been amazed by the advancements we made.
I mean, shit, 10 years ago, Bluetooth headphones would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Like just Bluetooth. Well, I mean, Bluetooth technology was around then, but
20 years back, the idea that almost everybody would have a smartphone in their pocket.
Right.
I don't think most people would buy that.
Well, I mean, shit. 20 years ago, people were hyped up about the PCs in your homes, and the advent of 256K modems. Mm-hmm. Those were starting to be more prevalent, and people were getting really into it was a niche market, but there was people who were like back before, like maybe 5-10 years prior to this, like 98, 99, 2000. The idea of having a personal computer in your home that you use for something other than doing technological work or computing for a job or whatever was a fringe society who the majority of people wouldn't think that that's something that would be so mainstream.
That you could play Doom
and
on.
Now every single human being, nearly every single human being in the first world has a computer in their pocket.
There was a day that
in your fucking pocket.
I had a video camera. I had a camera.
Yeah.
I had calculators.
Right.
I had calendars.
Those Texas Instrument motherfuckers.
Shit,
yes.
I forgot we have calculators.
Internet.
Yeah.
I had a digital Rolodex thing where I can keep my contacts.
Yeah.
Early cell phones, the big bricks.
Yeah.
It's only one device for us now.
But here's the funny thing. I come from
Music player, Walkman.
Right.
Now here's the thing. Let's bring a little bit of a cultural perspective to this. I'm sorry, this is culture.
Yes.
But, Russian culture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some of the shit that we have out there in Eastern Europe.
Just fast because they're Russian.
I'm half Russian, half Ukrainian. We're
His
all
left
the same,
half is Ukrainian.
But I find myself pretty loyal to my territory. So
Yes.
I'm a patriot of both nations, U.S. and Ukraine. But one thing I want to share is that we had those fucking phones that you actually have to spin the dial.
Oh yeah, rotary phones.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what's the funny part? I used those types of phones in fucking 97, 98. When my brother was finishing high school, and probably when you guys were motherfuckers. But anyway, just the thing is, it's still that part of the world does not have the technology. But they have the psychological means to how to approach and daily based survival. But what they're like the shit that they end up having was like a lot of cheap market fucking boosts where now they you can find almost anything in that fucking part of the world. It's not gonna be guaranteed to be like a fucking quality made like here in the US, but but it's, to be honest, here there's no there was ingenuity, but there was also just prospect to grow to become a more of a, I can't say like a predator, but like more like I can't say alpha, well maybe alpha male aggressive. That's not a good comparison.
What would you say that there's a little less?
It happened. I have word association now.
Okay, go ahead.
Nope. Just saying that's where we're at.
Okay. Going along with that, would you say that there's a little less reliance on that technology because of the lack of the quality?
Just like
technology?
World War I, which we actually already had 100-year anniversary as of recent. Fucking Russians broke as shit, decided to go into the fucking fight with training with fucking broomsticks, dude, because they didn't have fucking guns.
My grandmother, a little side
But
story.
nonetheless, they trained.
It'd be so funny if right now you go off on this tangent about your grandmother that has absolutely nothing to do with it.
It doesn't. It kind of does. So there was a good chance.
I thought it would be like, so to that, my grandmother, she used to make the best oatmeal cookies.
So,
Oatmeal for my
speaking
dog.
of probabilities and all that earlier, I could have not been here very easily because my grandmother grew up in Nazi Germany, Stuttgart. Stuttgart during World War II.
It was the blind part of Germany.
Right, the blind part.
The Nazi.
So, the Nazi. Oh, see. But anyways, my great-grandmother was hiding Russians in her basement, helping them. If any of the neighbors just decided to, they could have snitched them out because there was a lot of that going on. To protect your own ass, snitching everybody else out. I could have very easily not been here because my family could have been wiped out before my grandmother even met my grandfather when he got stationed back in Germany later on, and they moved to the U.S. It's amazing to me. But you made me think of that.
Here's a funny thing that I wanted to share with you, Adam.
Yes.
It's like
he
showing
pulls something out of his pocket. It's like a little fucking slinky.
But it's a very meaningful thing. You've as you just welcomed me and everything like that. You welcomed me in joining the show. Yes. I've noticed like when we said and we just threw a few Nazi jokes. A lot of people, like a lot of Russians, will be like they might sit and think and be like, "Where's this going?"
Yes.
Other people would be like, "Okay, we know this."
You just said the word Nazi.
Would you say they wouldn't be as quick to be offended because they know that it's a joke?
But that's the thing; they wouldn't be quick to judge and make that say.
They would wait to see what happens.
And
they're not a part of PC culture.
And what I just get to hear was that your ancestors saved my fucking ancestors amongst their fucking people.
And it may not literally be the exact, like your direct...
but think about it of a basic assumption.
Because you remember the Footstool Empire? Ottoman Empire.
Ottoman Empire?
It's just interesting. And that's one way that we're connected in the present day.
And then the other one is docking.
Docking, yes.
But truly, like, there's a third way, which...
I'm doing sign language over here.
Yeah. But to overcome
Docking,
and not to make those not to make those prejudgments. Yes. And I thought about it, I was just like, holy shit, kind of tired of it. I'm impressed that I didn't make a judgment at all. And that was, but it's because we have that experience, we share it, and we subconsciously already know it because after you overcome that part where you no longer, where any open opportunity, any open being technically any place where you're stuck butt ass naked, you will be able to get yourself out of it without fucking panicking to your point.
Yes.
Or just panicking and
I just don't want my dick to get hurt.
True. But who would respond? How would you respond if you were fucking found butt ass naked in the middle of the street?
In the middle of the street?
Yeah,
I would.
You would try to get out. If you're not going to be starting to freaking out and fighting people. I mean,
no,
unless you're okay.
It wouldn't be like a case of I'm ashamed of my. If this is going toward an analogy type situation, I wouldn't want to get out of the way because I'm ashamed of my body or anything like that, or feel that being that open about yourself is a bad thing. But I think that type of, and I would call it intimacy, being able to show who you really are to somebody, comes more from you can't just blatantly show that out to the world, not for fear of you being rejected or anything like that, because it'll happen. You'll find somebody that you can be that comfortable with, even if it's just friends or whatever, and in a degree you can be as naked as you possibly can be with them. But once you don't want to show it to everyone because when you show it, you give a piece, and if everybody takes something, then it can diminish what you have. Also, some people are so offended by a display of
public nudity.
But in a deeper metaphorical way, your exposure.
Yes.
You're exposed, it's
they're offended by your exposure.
They're too conservative for your exhibitionist.
So the part about this, when you undergo these experiences,
do I sound high? I think so.
When
saying that made you sound.
And that's what I was sharing this wonderful moment that I just had with Adam here. But it's also when you undergo that experience, the moment that just happened, it's I understood him and he understood me before we even when we became friends. You're just welcoming me in. Yeah. But the story itself is that you no longer. Oh, sorry.
That's right.
I just lose it. You no longer almost chauffeured that one. They call it chauffeuring, by the way, over there on the other side of the world. But because we recognize that feeling that we already undergone such experiment in our life, we don't need to show that. So the people that are approaching certain quick calls and quick decisions and laughing it off, or maybe getting fucking offended to the shits of their teeth. But I don't know. But wow, coming up with some random stuff. But
that's fine.
His anachronisms are fun.
We do that once in a while.
So UFOs.
But that's the thing is that's how we're approaching UFOs, and whoever can scream and post it out publicly the most or the loudest is the one that's going to be noticed, or maybe is just whoever has the same exact idea about them. Star Wars is a common ufology kind of bullshit. But that's not a word. But anyway, the part is, if you have that experience, if you're a person of maturity that has undergone some certain things where you're left with nothing and build yourself to be to build yourself up from absolutely nothing regardless, and kept on to using that as a tool and experience, or if you ended up going through those experiences again, eventually it will etch into your demeanor, and then your approach would be completely different to how you react to this particular contract that we had to make for, let's say, the UFOs that the government did just to please the public. That's a fucking contract how we should respond. That's it. We shouldn't fucking go for, maybe if you want to be prepped, go ahead, be a prepper. I think that's actually a plus. That's a way to be, prepping, but expect that you're going to lose. Expect that you're going to lose everything. When you walk outside your ego, you will not feel happiness or sadness. That's because your chances of death are equivalent as your next breath. To make a choice, when I walked outside of my ego, there was times where if suicide right there was about to cross my mind, it was without a question. And it wasn't because I was, at one point or another, I was a little feeling suicidal. No, this was just from a perspective where I freed myself. It's not when I became...
Free your mind, and the rest will follow.
It's not when...
Don't be so blind.
Freeing yourself from
Just open and swallow.
Oh yeah.
it's freeing yourself from your from the one thing that can make your choices for you.
Yes.
It's the one choice that you're gonna fucking hide. Let's say your next cigarette in front of your family member.
I think
you're gonna do.
Speaking of that, I think people
the same
who
thing you're not afraid of.
are determinists or think that everything is planned out, everything has everything that happens for a reason.
There's a beauty to it.
I think it's bullshit though, because that's diminishing your own personal growth.
It does, but it also.
I think, as far as I look at determinism,
pointful.
In a chaotic universe, there's a finite amount of everything. We just can't comprehend it. So there is determinism.
What I'm getting at is that people who feel that
they can't change anything on their local.
Yeah, people who feel that that everything happens for a reason.
Yes,
and every reason has already been preordained.
Yeah, that's
those
silly.
people who feel or claim to have experienced personal growth. Either one or two is the actual truth. They actually believe that everything happens for a reason and nothing can be changed about it, and you're going to wind up at that spot someday in your life anyway. So all of your accomplishments up to that point of building yourself up mean nothing because it would have happened.
Anyways,
That's how it's
that
designed
kind of
to be.
determinism on that.
Yeah.
And that's the funny thing that I wanted to point out is that culture, the UFO culture that's being brought into it, it's a beauty of a thing. I gotta say, it's just like fucking religion. It's in a way, as much as we hate the fact that we're being forced to answer and repeatedly do something for something we can't see or can't feel. The beauty about it is that we create a world subconsciously. So any universe,
you create a LARP.
You create another fucking world. So think about the shit.
No,
you
the
imagine.
belief, definitely the belief in
another
UFOs is like a whole another reality.
It's a reality, but it's a universe. So now it's a created universe that we put out there with a fucking either by media. Or is just one big giant overall UFO?
Well, there's something factual behind it, but the actual belief in it, it's like the art imitates life. Life imitates art, imitates life. It's a cycle. Because we discussed this before about how with the rise of science fiction getting into UFOs and aliens and all that, the stories change from these abductees. Now, did something happen to them? Are they all lying?
No, but we don't want to fucking hear it.
But whatever they experience is probably partially informed by
past experience,
pop culture.
Pop culture. But here's my question of what you guys were kind of saying. Okay. But any idea that any individual has, not necessarily manifests to a reality here, but automatically becomes a reality somewhere.
Even if it's just within their own head.
Does.
Yeah.
And the longer a person can sit with this reality they're creating in their head, the stronger that reality gets, regardless. And eventually, that reality is going to affect another.
Right.
I
don't think so. I think it influenced their reality that they're creating in their head. It doesn't encompass their own.
It recreates itself. It has a
but it's like the game of telephone.
Yeah.
So once you get one,
their reality informs their reality.
Yeah. Once you get one person expecting that your reality is correct based off of your detailed information that you're providing for your reality, all these things I've seen, all these things that have happened, this is my information, even though it's anecdotal and it's all in my head. In my head, it's real and should be real to everyone, but not everyone gets it. Not everyone can see it. Oh, this person has had shared experiences and our worlds are colliding, where they're both influenced by each other. So one evolves and one is created, and that just is perpetual.
Game of Telephone.
I don't think there's a Venn diagram.
No, but that's as a personally practicing philosophy and not practicing, but trying to be better about myself. Philosophical meanings of how we want to live our life about it. Like, should we do it the right way? Should we hurt others? But the thing is, the key concept. It is a fucking. It is a telephone game. It's no matter what somebody says, like the pre-story was told, but based on judgments, maybe based on personal experiences, or plain out simple, blunt
bullshit,
minded BS. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if I can totally believe in an objective reality, because reality comes from. Arguably from consciousness, and everybody's going to have their own subjective reality. But there are some factual things that can inform our subjective reality. But the reason I bring that up is I think if people had some kind of is some bombshell drop, some factual information about what UFOs are, the nature of them. So people are still going to come up with their own perceived ideas of what that means to them. But I think it would blow people away. Their subjective, the collective subjective reality, I guess you could say, which is weird saying that, but the collective subjective reality of what people think UFOs are. I think if they had some factual information of what they are, it would blow them away. Because I honestly think that we...
But that's the thing, they will know how to communicate that way to the world. Yeah. Because even being blown away is your response.
Yeah.
It's your communication of how you feel about it.
I think that what I mean is I think they'd be blown away by the fact that they were so off on what it factually is.
Yes, I just hope they don't act like kids about it. I mean, but yeah, it's nobody's fault.
Yeah,
and it happens. Shit, if you're blind, I'm happy that I managed to find.
I can recognize these branches, but I don't know what part of the forest I'm in right now.
Technically, the part is the meaning behind people freaking out about it, and so they're freaking out about it because they want to. They never experienced it, and now that they've seen the overall picture. At that point, if they truly understand the overall picture, they would stop caring. They would first things first. They would start learning how to adapt, because that point of feeling is. If you've been for example, that overcome feeling of fear, overcoming your death, it's an experience that puts you at that zero ego.
Yeah.
You're gonna be, you're not gonna think.
Zero.
You're gonna, there's gonna be reason. Even with me drowning, that was reason fucking somehow kicked in without me thinking anything else. You got here, you're coming back the same way.
In that proverbial dropping in the, being dropped into the deep end of the pool, I think that's gonna eventually be what happens when the reality of UFOs comes.
Here's the thing:
people, nobody's going to be. Very few people are going to be prepared.
Being prepared
for
to
the
be
reality of it.
That's the thing about it, is that it's being prepared to be dropped into that deep into the pool, because you're not going to take an infant and just throw it in and expect it to not need assistance. You're going to give
it some kind of preparedness.
Yeah,
and I don't think we're getting the benefit of that.
There are ways that you can eventually, even if it's an infant, drop it into a pool. It's by literally.
Sounds so terrible.
I know,
but it sounds like the Kappa stories of the Japanese throwing the babies in.
But I've seen it done, where these people they start teaching their children how to swim from birth, like literally from birth, teaching them how to swim.
There are classes with babies.
There are babies who are like 9 or 10 months old.
How to float?
No. They get tossed into a pool and swim to the edge because they fucking know how to swim. I think we're learning how to swim. I think that's how it's going. I don't think we're going to be.
This has been another episode of learning how to swim.
Yeah. Well, there's those times when you're 4 years old, never been in a pool or whatever before in your life, other than just kind of splashing around in a tub, and you get tossed into a pool. Okay. I think at 4 years old, being tossed into a pool, you could figure out how to get to the side, and get out.
Now, do you think?
So that's not necessarily preparedness to prepare you how to swim. I think it's in that situation, it's preparedness, being able to be prepared for any type of situation that might come upon you, where you can get yourself out of it.
Now, there's a common theory going around, and this leads into this.
Yeah, please.
On the one hand, it could be argued that art has been informing people's opinion of
and Garfunkel has been making fun of people.
Exactly.
No, wait, that is Garfunkel.
And liking lasagna?
Garfunkel.
No, that's Garfunkel.
Simon.
Okay,
Simon's been.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. But check this out. So,
I think it's your booty hole again.
On the one hand, on the left hand or the right hand, it doesn't matter. On the one hand, it could be argued that art is informing people's opinion of what the UFO phenomenon is.
Yeah.
At the same time, it could also be informing their opinion of what it is to
I think we've talked about this before. This is the chicken or egg situation.
Well, yeah, but it could be done in two ways.
So you're saying that media can influence the individual in
a negative way and a positive way.
That's what I think is happening.
On the one hand, it could be freaking people out, thinking that every time they see a UFO, that's an alien. Right. But at the same time, it could also be causing preparedness for that day that they reveal that they're here, or when they do actually come.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. The media is the teaching us how to swim from birth.
Exactly. You got it?
Yeah. If there were no indications out there in pop culture. Nothing out there.
Then we'd be building religions around the UFOs. Wait, that's already happened.
Yeah, that's happened. But what I'm saying is that without having that in the lexicon and in people's minds,
yes,
you may get one or two scenarios, but the fight or I think what it would be is a terrifying situation for most people.
Yeah,
and that's the fight or flight. You get tossed into a pool. It's not a fun, jolly time.
We're not trying to get rid of the fight or flight. It's what you do with that adrenaline.
The terrifying alien pop culture, the scary part of it, is more prevalent.
We know it's a possibility
because that's going to drop us into that deep end, that terrifying deep end that we don't know what's going to happen and how we're going to make our way out of it.
Exactly.
And we either do or we don't. We sink or swim.
Because ET, the extraterrestrial, isn't going to prepare us.
Right.
But here's the beauty about things, about life in that standpoint. It's that nurture part, because if we were trained to swim from, let's say, 10 months old, we would not be like that friendly maybe as individuals, maybe we'd just be actually responding differently. Take example, a lot of Eastern Europeans are being looked at as aggressive, pushy, somewhat sounding kind of dumb in accent, like who we're trying to do this, like that. No, but intelligent. Some of the guys that won the literature awards and Nobel Literature Awards and English language happens to be 3 of them were fucking Russians. So one of the things I gotta say, these guys are intelligent.
They were fucking Russians or they were Russians?
Okay,
or are they rushing their fucking?
Let's hold on the fucking for a point.
Okay.
We'll keep the dick out of this one, but we're going from here.
I think you pronounced that wrong.
Going from here, but look at how an individual nation
funny,
that's
English is your second language.
Actually, it's not my first, and Russian is like my second.
I know, but
it's the funny part is that they're not perceived as friendly individuals. They're perceived as angry, aggressive. The thing is, they're highly intelligent, but the thing is, are they too intelligent for their own good?
I don't think
the nature part of it, there's the country misses a little bit of nature because parents are a little tougher. They're like, well, they're tougher because you're out there and it's a little bit more of a dog-eat-dog kind of thing, It's so that's the nature that the parents live in, so they have to
cannibalistic canines.
And this all could be dumped on aliens too.
And
I mean, the same perception that they're going to be tough because they had to traverse the stars, hypothetically, or other dimensions or whatever to get here. Right. They're not from here.
Little combination of those things, like
not even that.
And they're intelligent.
They had to accomplish being here. Yes. However that is done.
Yes.
They had to accomplish being here,
and too intelligent for their own good. They can come off as intimidating to others.
If you're that fucking smart, and you have all the element of surprise and the element of technology. What's the first thing you're gonna take care of that is that's on that can make this trip, that can fucking change
make or break that trip? I think. I think that a being that advanced would be advanced enough to understand that if they are going to come here en masse, if they're coming to be peaceful, they would be able to demonstrate that they are peaceful. Like unlike with the movie Arrival, where those ships just show up and there's like 12 of them, and they don't have a way of communicating that they're not hostile.
And that looks like a sign of power,
right?
And the problem with humans being primates, it comes off as. Like we gotta, it seems aggressive to us, and we want to defend ourselves.
But just like those baboons, dude, we can keep that shit in check. There's an enlightening point to it.
I think of it like this: bees are innocuous, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. They're not malicious or benign. They are just what they are.
They have the potential to defend themselves,
right? But right. And I mean, and I'm just speaking in general terms. So when a bear sees his first bee, he might be annoyed by it, fascinated by it, whatever the reaction may be. And then he gets stung, right? He's scared of it at first, and then he gets stung and realizes it's not so bad.
Yeah.
So maybe like the species that's coming here is the reason why we're seeing UFOs or whatever it is.
Maybe they're slowly revealing themselves because that would be an intelligent way to do it.
Instead of just fucking
go to the chiefs, like the governments of the world.
But the thing about it is too, is that it could be that, you go into a swarm of bees and you die.
Yeah.
And then just because of your ignorance of bees.
Yeah.
So maybe the species that's out there that's able to get here is bees. We're seeing, there's a bee, and oh my God, I'm afraid of it. And the more people that see bees, the more used to bees you'll be.
Yes.
You can walk around like them, without a problem. But that's a very good point. And going into that particular part of how we're going to approach, if we were to approach an alien themselves, you know, like if like UFO coming in,
we're probably going to swat it first because we're afraid of bees.
Like, have you guys seen that fucking Attack of the Martians or whatever? Mm-hmm. That fucking like they walked around with a little brain.
Mars attacks.
Mars attacks. Yeah, that's what it was. Remember how we welcomed
that was the Ukrainian translation,
and they just wanted to wait until we welcomed them for us to be fucking shut up right there.
Yeah,
and the thing is. Always approach with peace. Always approach with peace.
And with caution, though, because one should always be, because not knowing that bees could sting or not, if you never encountered bees, one should be prepared for defending himself. Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
It would be stupid to not be prepared.
If you were to gather civilization or just this planet up into one individual, I don't know. I mean, us as a collective, I think, could make one or two of these mistakes. But I think we would have to make. We're not at that stage yet.
Yes,
we're not at that level of maturity yet to have a species come here.
We can't interact with each other peacefully.
Yeah,
across the board. How can we do it with aliens?
Yeah. So maybe it's helping.
Yes.
Maybe.
So you guys saying that maybe it's a way for us to which you pointed out, it's for them to be smart about it.
Yes.
Because that's the way. If you just show back up to something that you've created, who knows? Maybe they created us. Who fucking knows? But that's the thing. If you show up to that, and then what the fuck would somebody interpret a completely different form?
Right.
When we go into the wild, we're smart enough to know that, in not just from experience, if we came across a creature that we don't know, we know that there's a potential that this creature could harm us. So we got to come with caution.
Bugs right away. Yeah. We take consideration that the bugs are a problem. But that's our interaction with them because most of them.
But that's the thing, though, is that humanity currently has the potential to either kill something that they're afraid of. That is unknown,
scary, probably,
or
to another civilization.
observe something to get more information before making a decision.
And that's the thing. So on the one hand, we should always be ready to defend ourselves. Yes, I agree. It would be silly not to.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, we need to quit. We need to let go of this, just jumping to the conclusion that something more intelligent than us is going to harm us.
Right.
We don't know that.
But we should definitely practice that.
I'm more intelligent than most of the people that I encounter on a regular basis.
I know, it sounds big-headed, but I feel the same way.
And I haven't killed any of them. I've wanted to because of how stupid they are.
Yeah.
But the thing about the part about it is being humble towards.
I just blind them with
because
science.
Sometimes that could be taken as offense, and you and I've known in practices is try to better a scenario to improve, no matter how badly that person on the other end can be against it. The point behind it is we're showing that. We're technically taking it back and showing it as an example to our next. As an example, is the first thing that we should do, because the way we approach it is, you got to take a moment to understand where it's coming from, but you got to also play with it because it is your language, it's your communication, and that's the only way they will understand it, or maybe even give it a second thought if they can put it right in their own mind.
But you know what?
And you're the person that will help them translate it.
And that does go back to
whether bad or good.
The learning from your failures, just being willing to fail and then continue, in that respect. But I also think we're approaching it from our side and on their side too. If we're learning from our failures, they're learning from their experiences too.
Yeah.
So I don't think that.
Well, think of all the trial and error for them to get to where they've gotten.
Right, but even though they're the most intelligent beings,
this is where
there's still room for growth and understanding.
You gotta love, but that's one of those things, you gotta love art. Like, one of the parts is, of course, the media. We were just talking about that. Take example, George fucking Lucas. If you watched an alien movie back in the fucking 50s, how scared were you to shit to see that fucking thing come out of a goddamn, lagoon or some shit like that, And now you look at it, they fucking fight one by one, and one against another, and sizes do not fucking matter. Maybe we're creating these. Art has kind of helped us, which is kind of sad because it's a drug and then it's a fucking cure for itself. But it helped us to develop this. Jesus Christ. It helped us develop this respect to other outworldly manners, and shit. If anything, maybe someone will be too fucking dorky when they jump up with a Star Wars fucking shirt when they see a first alien. But just like that fucking movie, Paul, or whatever. But the funny thing is, they at least will have the open mind to not approach it as an asshole from like, that was, maybe they were assholes, they were like get pushed or anything, but if they can see that example, if we can show that example, and that's what I was saying, like when you better that communication, you show an example. Yeah. But that's something that's what you get when you overcome that part. Mm-hmm. When you don't know it, you start showing somebody who doesn't.
Right. And I think there's I think there's a healthy amount of fear of the unknown. But I don't think that fear of the unknown should rule your decision making. I think the possibility should rule your decision making.
And I get that it's a biological necessity because you don't want to just jump into things and die. Mm-hmm. I mean, but at the same time, we can limit some of our.
If you don't know you'll die, you might jump in.
So are we living in a day by day?
That's the way it goes.
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah, depending on the situation, depending on the circumstances.
But sometimes we have irrational fears that arise from the biological. And you're in the desert.
I know. I live in the desert.
So how many of us do actually on a daily, on daily basis would practice? Well, not practice, but technically, like you can't say practicing if you just run into these kind of often. Be stuck at a stress level where we have to fucking deal with it. But at the end, there is, maybe it will last a day, maybe it will last an hour, maybe it will last a fucking year. And mine has. The only funny part is that I've trained and trained myself to deal with so much stress that paying off 3 years worth of fucking taxes that I got backed up on, I'm happy. It was a very easy experience than I expected, and all it was just the stress that built up and worried myself. But it was a missed one, and then the other one was just it was one they taxed me for 30 fucking grand. I had some private stock from a previous company I worked from, and so what happened is I got taxed way too little when I asked, give me a lot so I don't have to pay later, and so they screwed me over, and still I ended up paying later. But that got me in the backup, and so as a reasonable individual in my own way, that made me panic and stress out for a long time. Instead of dealing with it, I kind of subconsciously pushed it back and back. I didn't step up to it, and that was my insecurity about it. And then in the very end, it was so fucking easy to pay back, get it done. It literally took me 3 fucking months.
Wow, there you go.
3 years.
Yeah.
The 1 year it was my engagement failure, but it was a challenging thing, and I had to overcome that. But I did. That one. It was a psychological thing that I had to step up and question myself as how far am I going? And so that's the same thing. You see, we're suppressing him. But at one point, if you choose to confront and answer the question right now, we are willing to teach that same lesson to others. And
to our progeny, more so than anything, because
I'm so sorry.
We're applying artistic creations,
Was it progeny that got you?
No. It was from the previous episode. Motorboat your butt cheeks.
Motorboat your butt cheeks.
It popped right into my head at that moment. The motorboat your butt cheeks.
Of all the things you could think of, Ray.
Yes.
Oh man, that's how Gozer's gonna get you is with motorboating the butt cheeks.
Right. Well,
it just popped in there.
I gotta let you guys know this is a very great conversation.
Oh yeah.
We're almost.
Go ahead.
I'm not sure about the time.
I fucked it up.
No, you didn't. You didn't. What you did, you just right there.
You popped right in there.
Yeah.
This conversation
was about motorboat and butt cheeks.
It got pretty well, and
proverbial motorboating on the butt cheeks.
You guys found in a really most realistic, stressful kind of. A lot of people can be beat down over this conversation.
No, I'm thinking of a brown noser.
You made it funny, and that's the thing. See, I'm the only one that's I'm finding it.
We don't make jokes to belittle anybody that believes in one thing or another, or to lessen the.
It's to handle things.
Yeah,
I think you guys are teaching it to curse because teaching it how to take the curse word.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not to take it seriously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not to make that preassumptive judgment.
Or the things you take serious. Step back sometimes and laugh at things.
Get creative.
Don't let it bog you down. Creative cursing 101.
I had a few creative ones today, so we'll keep going with that.
I think,
just like somebody saying fuck when they never use it, it actually comes out to be really funny,
flapjacks. Yeah, mother flipping jackface.
Oh no, Chuck has gone beyond the point of no return.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
It's like a buddy of mine back in high school. It was he was.
I thought you said a bunny.
One of our motherfuckers, like in a crew of 8, like you had a crew of 8 really
That ass flapping muppet fuck.
But the funny part, he was always like, he kept it quiet, but he only spoke with us. Like with anyone in public.
Oh, he's one of the good ones.
That kept his mouth shut the whole time. And then one day, he would start speaking, try to join in a conversation. My friend's like, dude, shut the fuck up, man. Dude, just shut the fuck up, Justin. He's like, yeah. So we started going. We're talking about this something. It was like some crazy guy was running across. We were just pointing out, and he's like, "Yeah, man, did you see him the other day?" He's like, "Dude, Justin, just shut your fucking mouth, man." And it was so fucking funny because.
He was the quietest one.
Yeah, he was fucking quietest one in our
You're
crew.
conditioning him for furthering his life of silence.
And then, but the thing is, he's about as fucked up as we are in the head. And so it's like
he just doesn't get to express it verbally.
Yeah, he doesn't do it that often. And it's the funny part is that the only time he gets it, we get to put it down like that. And it wasn't offensive in that way. But
Chuck did something like that to one of our guests because we cuss all the time. And one of the Bryans were on, and he said something. He's like, "Watch your mouth."
Oh yeah. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
It's like
quit fucking cussing. Yeah. That shit's not acceptable.
It's like, what in the effing fuck was that,
The effing fuck.
What in the flipping birds is that?
What the freaking silly cunt.
What in the silicone silly Muppet fuck? I don't know.
You keep saying Muppet fuck.
I know, it's funny.
I don't think you...
Muppets.
Muppets.
Yeah.
Muppet
But we were talking about slang from
dry.
other people's, and Muppets is kind of like idiots to the Brits.
I don't know, dude. That guy was a creative way.
Jim Henson was
a lot
awesome.
more intelligent than a lot of people.
I'm not talking about those Muppets.
Those fucking Wheaties. So does that bring this episode to a conclusion, I think?
Yep.
Otherwise, we'll just go for another 12 hours.
It came to a climax.
I gotta say, it's amazing. We discovered our interaction with just to sum it all up, we discovered our interaction with his beings, and how are we approaching it is really, it's up to all of us, and like how much some of the things is however much you test yourself or have been tested, or how you just dealt with overall aftermath of that fucking trauma, is how you're gonna behave when it comes to meeting somebody new you don't know, and whether it be something that's related to you in many ways, or something that is way different, that can put you so far away from being close to you that it makes you possibly even give that life choice. You either, what are you gonna do? You're gonna approach this motherfucker in a peaceful way, or are you gonna freak out, punch him in the nose, get the fuck out of there, or are you just gonna be a fucking naive idiot and get your shit fried?
I have a funny side story. There's actually so you have Google Maps.
I do not.
There's a claim by this man that said he punched an alien that was in his yard. And if you look it up on Google Maps, there is some kind of weird thing standing in this man's yard, and you can see him punching it.
Oh, wow.
Like the odds of this whatever he punched being on Google Maps.
Cool.
I honestly,
oh my God,
most likely, he was just Google mapping his house and said, "That looks weird. I'm gonna tell people I punched a fucking alien."
Right.
Or it was the missing kid in the neighborhood. But still, I think that was funny.
And just to bring this episode to a close, because I think we'll just, like I said, continue on and on and on.
Ad nauseum. Check that shit out.
Just remember, guys, if Michael Caine asks you to sit on his face,
you sit
let
on
him
his face.
motorboat your butt cheeks.
Oh my God! Now I know where that's at. I'm so
Jesus!
If you don't know what we're talking about, listen to our Travis Walton episode. Listen to the after the outro music little bit.
It is
it's a little bit
amazing, is what I'll say. All right. Well, good night, guys.
I hope you guys got something from this. We did.
Yeah. Something from nothing comes nothing. So you better have something if you're gonna give it STDs.
STDs.
All right. Good night.
UFOs. Don't be so quick to judge them and think you know what they are.
UFOs and hoes. UFOs and hoes.
Hell yeah.
Ugly fucking ornithologists.
UFOs and
Ugly fucking ornithologists.
Thank you.